Hello everyone! As you might know, I'm Beatriz Molinari, and in this video I'm gonna present one more English work about a movie that I never ever imagined to watch in my life. Today I'm gonna do the review about the horror movie Interview with the Vampire. Interview with the Vampire is the 1994 adaptation for the screens of the first book in the collection The Vampire Chronicles. Directed by Neil Jordan and with the script by Rice herself, the movie is one of the horror classics and carries deep reflections about manifestation issues and won 2 BAFTAs, 2 MTV Movie Awards. It was nominated for 2 Oscars and 2 Golden Globes. It features Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Kirsten Dunst, Antonio Banderas, Christian Slater, and Steve Rea. The storyline of this movie is amazing and literally consists in an interview, and most of the scenes are flashbacks about vampire Louis' life. It starts in San Francisco when a young journalist, Danielle Malloy, who wanders the streets searching for interesting people, ends up finding the most interesting person of all, Louis de Ponte du Lac, a vampire over 200 years old, who was ready to tell his history about how he was turned into a vampire by Lestat and licensed them. The transition from the present to the flashback is marked with mastery by the soundtrack made by Elliot Gondetal. We are immediately transported to New Orleans at the end of the 18th century. Louis' narration remains strong at the beginning and is gradually becoming more absent, just appearing in unromantic moments. As he narrates, we can see the personalities of these two characters, Louis and Lestat, one fight to keep his human side, and the other to kill him. Being a vampire was not an easy task, especially for Brad Pitt, who was Louis, the wielding finger protagonist. In interviews, the actor claimed to have considered quitting the project because he felt extremely uncomfortable with the clothes and makeups. However, for Tom Cruise, making the vampire craze for models was not so difficult but a tiring task. The actor took 3.5 hours a day in the makeup chair. The bond between the two characters is a remarkable love-hate relationship, which gains definitely disturbing condition with the presence of the character Claudia, played by Kirsten Dunst. The girl is initially treated as the daughter of the duo, but soon develops a more complex personality, become a friend and lover of Louis. Claudia was uncomfortable just like Lestat. She loved to bite humans, but had a big conflict with her body. She couldn't deal with the idea that she didn't grow, as we can see in the scene, where she kept a young woman's body beaten by her, for example, a desire. But when her parents saw that, she freaked out by cutting her own hair and hurt Lestat. However, it had no effect, because they are vampires, and she had to accept her condition. Did you know that Annie Rice was afraid that Lestat and Louis could be perceived as a gay couple, which would be a controversial topic at the time, but they remained just like the book. An Interview with the Vampire was the first LGBT movie to reach a box office in excess of $100 million. We can see in the film all the pain Louis keeps with him because of the death of his mother wife during their childbirth, because of Lestat, Claudia not having all the answers for their mother life, not have a purpose, or not having a life itself. Another thing that is awesome in this movie is Kirsten Dunst's performance being Claudia, how she can make the character grow psychologically even though the physics stays the same. Did you know that in this movie was the first kiss scene of Kirsten and her first ever kiss on the lips? The relationship between the three is worked on dynamically by the script and gives us the definitive feeling of being together years and years. But it begins to weaken when Claudia realizes that Lestat is a nuisance, what leads her to try to kill him. The plot is very fragmented, and the movie is more than 2 hours long. It gets a little tiring, but when you least expect it, something happens. The artwork provides precise costume and life settings, what perfectly portrays Louis' journey through the centuries. The special effects and the makeup are very well taken care of, and the soundtrack completes the show, creating the ideal atmosphere to keep us immersed in the bloody tale. So we follow the trajectory in Europe after leaving Lestat burning in the United States. They don't find any other vampire even after traveling to different countries, until Louis bumping into Santiago in Paris, what took them to one of the most horrible moments in the movie, the disturbing play where the vampires pretend to be humans playing vampires while the audience applauds that murder they think is a lie. In this context, 2 important figures are introduced to the movie. Santiago, and Armand, the oldest existing vampire who Louis believed to have all the answers he always wanted to know. When Louis went back to the United States after Claudia's death, happens an interesting scene. He finds a lot of technology and says that he watched the sunrise for the first time in 200 years. In these scenes, we can see how the world is developing and the change in Louis' behavior and in his lifestyle. Therefore, in 1988, he returns to New Orleans where he finds Lestat, whom asks Louis to rejoin him, but the vampire rejects and leaves. And this is how the interview ends. In the last scenes, we have Louis freaking out with Malloy after the journalist asked to be turned into a vampire. But when you think it's over, Jordan provided us the last scary scene of the movie. Lestat appears suddenly in Daniel's car passing over the Golden Bridge with the tapes recorded in the interview playing. He bites Malloy and says that he would give him the chance he never had. And in the movie with the Guns N' Roses cover for the Rolling Stones' Sympathy for the Devil. Did you know that Interview with the Vampire was the first film to get permission to close 2 lanes on the Golden Gate Bridge? For those who like this kind of thing, this is a must-watch movie. But if you, like me, are afraid of creepy creatures, scary suspense, blood, and a lot of blood, I don't recommend it that much because the visual effects is really good and realistic. So, that was it. Thank you for watching. Bye!